This is Mark the Meerkat in with the weekend review from Grok Trade in for D7, who's in Florida, enjoying the nice weather here. And a happy St. Patrick's Day weekend to all, and may the luck of the Irish be with your trading. Hey, the week in the markets here. Well, Nasdaq hit a new all-time high, and then but the markets pulled back and did end the week in the red. But we are in a bull pullback. That's a brief review there. Let's take a look here at the daily charts, weekly, and then we're halfway through the month, so let's take a look at the monthly charts as well. First, we have the SPY here, and it is at it broke out last Friday. We thought out of this symmetrical triangle. We thought, hey, if it takes off, time to load up. Well, guess what? It had gap up, pull down, a big gap up, a big pull down, gap up, pull down here first 3 days last week. And then again on Thursday and then Friday, almost a doji there, but with bigger volume. So I would call this a beginning of a bull pullback, pulled right back to this to the 50 and the 20 moving average areas, and starting to probabilities are that it's going to roll back up. That's the daily chart on the SPY. Let's take a look here at the weekly. And weekly chart here, again, we're in a bull pullback here also on the weekly chart, and again we have a red candle here, but we are working our way back up. Again, the volume here was a little bit lower this week than on this big huge green candle. That's good news. We want lower volume as it pulls back a little bit. And then we'll go to the monthly, again 2 weeks into the month here, and we get this huge run up. Last month, big red one pulled back. It went all the way down here and pulled back up. And now we're starting to work our way back up a little bit at a time here. So not a strong pullback, but we are pulling back. That's the monthly chart. All right, let's go to the DIA here on the daily chart. And here we are then on the DIA. Now it was in a symmetrical triangle. It did not break out on last Friday, and that did another pullback. So it's still within that symmetrical triangle. Again, symmetrical triangles can be either bullish or bearish. And look at this. It's right here is the closing line from 2017. So we came right back down to it on Wednesday, and we're still in this range here. So, and just below the 20 moving average there, and the 50 moving average is up there. So, not quite looking as bullish as the S&P 500. And now let's take a look here at the weekly chart on the Dow, and it too was again, it is trying to do a bull pullback, but you see it is not again as bullish as the S&P 500. It is moved its way up better than it has here on the Dow. And then we can take a look at the monthly on the Dow, and it as you can see, it is also not working its way back up here after the red month that we had last month. All right, let's go to the QQQ, the Nasdaq here for the daily chart first, and it's been the most bullish of the markets here. Oops, and look at that. It did its pullback, and then it pulled back and went to new all-time highs here on Monday. It closed at a new all-time high. Then it gapped up and pulled back, and now it's in a bull pullback here near its all-time highs. And it's the most bullish of all the markets. You can see down here is the closing from last year, and it is up here, and it's done well. Let's look at the weekly chart here on the Nasdaq, and there we go. And look at that beautiful bull pullback. It has gone all the way back up. Now we did pull back for the week. We had a negative week, even though we had set a new all-time high there. But for a weekly close here on the Nasdaq is it was lower, so we didn't get to a new all-time high close on the weekly chart, but we did go into new territory there. And then taking a look at it on the monthly chart, again, we're halfway through the month. This is still an active candle, but look at this. It's looking a lot more bearish. It's looking a lot more bullish than the S&P and than the Dow. And we'll take a look at the sector rotation chart here a little bit later, and show you that yeah, definitely tech stocks have been driving the market here for the last 3 months. And now we take a look here at the small cap Russell here, back on the daily. Small cap Russell looks more like the S&P, I'm sorry, looks more like the Nasdaq, and it's come back up, and it on Tuesday it challenged its all-time high here, close, in that it came up here and tagged it. Look at that, tagged it, opened right at the all-time high, and then it gapped up, but then it pulled back, gap up, pull back, gap up. Well, that's a sign of a weak market when it gaps up and it can't sustain the initial gap in the morning and keeps dropping the rest of the day. Friday, again, a nice up candle, and look at the volume on Friday on the small caps. It's starting to return back up, very strong volume. I'm paying a lot of attention to that candle right there. That's the daily chart. Let's take a look at the weekly chart here on the Russells. Again, looking more bullish than the S&P and the Dow, and very similar to that of the Nasdaq. Look at that, coming back up here, challenging its all-time highs on close on the weekly chart. So it pulled back more than the rest of the markets after in the early February there. You can see here's the closing line, so it is above it, but not nearly as much as the Nasdaq. Take a look here at the monthly here on the small caps, and it is again a nice green month this month here. This is the strongest of all of them in the monthly chart, and coming back up here, challenging the all-time highs. Again, it's only halfway through the month. We can't count this candle yet, but it's already higher than the all-time high close for the monthly charts. And again, it's still 2 weeks, plenty of trading to take place. All right, let's go back to the daily charts and take a look at some of these others. For number one, let's take a look at Bank on the daily. Bank here, it hit a new all-time high here on Monday, and then it's doing a pullback, and it tagged it again. It tagged it during the day on Friday, and then it pulled back a little bit, but it is in a pullback. Bank can't go anywhere without Bank, so with Bank up there at all-time highs, that's a good sign. The VIX here on the daily, we had this beginning of February. It was just outrageous. These huge candles. There was a lot of volatility in the volatility index, but look at these candles are getting smaller and smaller, and they're down in the 15 to 16 range now. We're getting more back to normal. Now if you go back here, the new normal here back in 2017 was below 12 and even as low as 9. New all-time records since they invented the index back in 2017. But then that all changed then at the beginning of February. The volatility came in, but again it snapped back, but it's taking its time coming back down into the normal range. So we won't see as big of moves in the market in general, unless we do, but just the volatility is coming out, the fear in the market is coming out. We take a look at gold on the daily chart. Symmetrical triangle on Wednesday talked about the fact that it was looking a little bit more bearish because it was under all of these moving averages, and sure enough it's running down, closed just below that support line. Silver even looking more bearish here, as it had 2 days closed now below this symmetrical triangle lower support line. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as the recording here early on Sunday morning, and it is broken below this 200 moving average. Bam, and now it is basing here, and now the last 2 days it is starting to drop again. So looking bearish here on the Bitcoin. Now let's take a look at the FANG stocks. I said tech stocks have been driving us here. So here's the Facebook, and it's a bit of a symmetrical triangle now, or actually, let's see here. Is it that, or I guess we could call it an ascending triangle here, right? It's an ascending triangle on Facebook right now. It's actually been the between Facebook and Google, they've been the weaker of the tech stocks, of the FANG stocks. But it's now looking like a possible breakout up here, so definitely a up arrow on this one. We have an Apple went to new all-time highs here up, and then up at above 92.50, 192.50, 182.50, and it's in a bull pullback with the rest of the markets. And then we've got Amazon, just been on a tear, went to new all-time highs. It was up above 1,600. Wow, folks, that's pretty unbelievable. And it's now doing a gentle pullback here. So again, that's just been on fire here. I mean, we talk about, is it an uptrending stock or not? Look at that, from lower left to upper right. Wow. Look at Netflix, and especially since at the beginning of the year, boom, look at that. The rest of the market's pulled back hard, just had a bull flag, and then it's just been taking off. Now it's also an asymmetrical triangle up here, bull pennant. That's on Netflix. And then Google, again, has not been as strong as the others. It pulled back harder, and it has not quite gotten back up to its all-time highs. But it's getting close again. So again, it's in a little bit of a pullback here right now. In fact, actually, it had look at that bearish engulfing here with big volume. That's not a good sign for Google. All right, let's take a look here at the at finviz.com. These are the group ratings for the day. Don't really care about that one, but let's take a look at this one for the week. Utility stocks, people putting some money. Again, it's a pullback week. They're going to put it into the more conservative defensive area. That's utilities. But take a look here for the month. Look at that. Technology 5% in the last month, compared to the next closest one is utilities at 3.3. So definitely tech stocks are driving it the last month. And look at the last 3-month performance. Tech stocks just boom, 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 driving the way forward. So keep your eye on those tech stocks. Oh man, look at the last 6 months. #1, technology. So we might be getting into sector rotation, but definitely right now, until it actually turns down, I have most of my money into the tech area until I won't anymore. And I trade what I see, not what I think. This is Mark the Meerkat. Have a great trading week.